guys, and welcome back to Nebula Fox Toy Reviews. Today we are going back to Jurassic World figures, but we're still not returning to Dominion just yet. I just haven't been able to get any figures yet. But today we are going to be doing the last wave of the Dino Escape line of figures, with the last 4 Fierce Force figures that were released. So these are the Savage Strike replacements. So they're the little £10 figures that also had some gimmicks to them rather than just being posable figures. So I'm going to be reviewing the whole wave, just so I can make way for some Dominion stuff. So we've got the Tanystropheus, which I was quite lucky to get this one. This was the last one on the shelf. We have the Styracosaurus, which this is the 3rd time Mattel have released a Styracosaurus figure, but to me, this is my first Styracosaurus figure from Mattel. We have the repaint of the Masiakosaurus. I do have the original one on hand to do a quick comparison. And we have the 1,000,000th Monolothosaurus. I do have the previous Monolothosaurus release, which was a Savage Strike, for comparison. So, yeah. I've actually only recently been able to get hold of these figures. They're not, unless you live right next door to a Smith's, or have a car, so a Smith's is just down the road. They're not necessarily the easiest figures for me to get hold of. So, yeah, I've only just recently been able to get hold of them. But as far as I'm aware, people over in America are at least still having trouble finding themselves a Tanystropheus. So the blue one, with the long neck, this one. From what I gather, this one is eluding quite a few Jurassic collectors in the US. Over here in the UK, it almost eluded me. I checked the night before the website, because you can go onto Smith's website, you can select the store, and they'll tell you if you've got any in stock. I did check it, and they initially said they were out of stock. Then I checked it the morning that we were going, and it said they had 1 in stock. So I was like, thank God, I hope it's still there when I get there. And it was sat at the front of the shelf, just waiting for me to pick it up. I thought because there was only 1 left, someone may have moved it and hidden it to the back of the shelf so they could come back for it later. But no, it was just sat at the front, waiting for me to come and pick it up. There were millions of Styracosaurus and Masiakosaurus, but only 1 Tanystropheus. And there weren't actually that many Monolothosaurus, if I remember correctly. But yeah, even though in America with the Monolothosaurus, the US has had loads of them, but the UK, as far as I'm aware, has not had that many of Mattel's Monolothosaurus figures. We haven't actually had that many of them. But anyway, let's go on over to the table and get a closer look at these guys. I've babbled enough while I've been sat here. So, follow me over there. So, here we are. Here are the figures. And I'm going to put these 3 off to the side because I'm starting with the Tanystropheus. Because this is the new species that has been released for this wave. And this guy is pretty cool. But also goofy looking. So Tanystropheus was, as far as I'm aware, is a marine reptile from the Triassic period, I think it was. This is my my Sea Monsters with Nigel Marven knowledge. So it's outdated. Very outdated knowledge. But yeah, it was a marine reptile. Was a herbivore, I believe. But it looks like it could have eaten fish as well. So anyway, starting at the head. The head pretty much looks like the Rhamphorhynchus head, if I'm being honest. Just with the goofy teeth. It just reminds me of the Rhamphorhynchus that Mattel made earlier. But coming down, we have a nice, long, slender neck with some spines running down it. Coming into a quite chunky but stubby body. And a nice short tail. People have complained that Mattel's tails are too short, but as far as I'm aware, this one did have a short tail. Maybe like a few inches longer would be better. But I think this creature did have a short tail. I was going to say dinosaur. It's not a dinosaur. So we've got nice short, stumpy lizard legs, basically. And yeah. Colour-wise, it's been moulded in this nice blue plastic. Coming up here, we've got some like weird grey painted on it. And coming up here, this part of the neck, I think, has been moulded in this grey. And then this little teeny tiny bit of blue has been painted on. Because this bit of the neck does feel different to this one. And then the head, like the top part of the head has been moulded in the grey. And the bottom jaw has been moulded in the blue. Well, I should say bottom jaw, and this bit has been moulded in the blue. Because this little blue bit is a separate piece. And then we've got nice little beady yellow eyes, which have been nicely printed on both sides, for once. And then inside the mouth has been painted a lovely pink with a bit of gloss to give it that wet look. So, yeah. For articulation, as you've seen, the mouth can open and close. The head is on a swivel hinge, so it can move up and down, but also side to side. This part of the neck is on the same hinge, so it can move up and down and side to side. This bit of the neck is the gimmick, so nah. The front legs can rotate. They can also move. They can also move outwards for whatever reason. That actually kind of looks like it's trying to dab. For something where its legs are this short and squat, the outward movement just seems kind of pointless. The back legs can rotate. They do not have any in and out movement. And that is it. That's it for the articulation. For the Fierce Force gimmick, I'm going to put the neck back in the position that I had it in. Actually, no, I'm not. I'll do that. You move the tail down, and it headbangs, basically. It's like it goes down to bite something, or just beats them up with its head. Now I shall put it back into that pose. And then, in case you haven't got it already, here is the scan code for the Tanystropheus. Please excuse that bit of oil on my fingers. So yeah, there's the scan code for the Tanystropheus. Put you there. Moving on, we have the Styracosaurus, which, like I said, this is the third time Mattel has given us a Styracosaurus using this mould. But this is the first time I have got this mould because, as far as I'm aware, the previous two I don't think were actually ever readily available in the UK. If they were, I seriously missed out on them. Because this is a pretty awesome figure. Starting at the head, we have a very nice sculpted head on these guys. Very nice painted and detailed beak. Excuse me. All of the horns and spikes are individually painted, as well as the beak. I don't know if that on the horn here is a bit of paint chipping or if it's a bit of paint blob. Just a bit of a QC. I don't know. I think it's paint chipping. I'm not too fussed. You can't really see it from a distance. Very nicely coloured, I'm going to say sun splotches on the crest. So it's just a yellow blob with a bit of orange surrounding it. Nice little yellow eyes. Once again, nicely printed on both sides. Coming down to the back, it is just moulded in this faded green colour. But then we've got a nice brown splotch on its back for the markings. And then underneath it, it's more of a yellowy green. It's coming up more yellow on the camera. It's way more yellow on the camera. Nothing on the tail, but I think this blends quite nicely. So I'm not bothered about the lack of paint on the tail, because I think it looks alright, for once. For articulation, the head can rotate. It can also go up and down, but that's for the gimmick. But it can rotate around. The front legs can go forward and back, and also out to the side. And the back legs can also go forward and back. Ooh. And they can also go out to the side a little bit. The front legs on mine are unfortunately a little bit loose, so if you're playing with it, the legs on mine will give out quite easily, unfortunately. For the action feature, as with the Tanystropheus, you pull the tail down and it goes into a ramming action. So that's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Here is the scan code for the Styracosaurus. You will most likely already have this. But if you don't, there it is. Moving on to the next figure, when I can get the Styracosaurus stood up on its own, off camera. Are you going to stand up, or are you going to be an awkward son of a bitch? You're going to be an awkward son of a bitch. There we go. Right, moving on, we have the Masiakosaurus, or as I pronounced it in the previous review of the green version, the Masiakosaurus. That just seems more of a mouthful than Masiakosaurus, so I'm going to say it that way this time round. I love this paint scheme. Way more than the green version. It's vibrant. It's in your face. It says, I'm here. So this is exactly the same mold as the green one, which is just off to the side, so we can do a comparison afterwards. So we've got some really nice, once again, well, this one's a little bit of a bleh, but I will say nicely printed eyes. The good thing about some of these figures when they're in the open box design for display, for like shelving boxes, is you can look at both sides of the head and make sure that the eyes are printed nicely. So the head is molded in this nice deep red colour. Is it maroon or mahogany? I don't know. We'll say deep browny red. The bottom jaw is molded in this yellow, which is alright because it matches the spots. Inside the mouth is painted nice and pink. Well, the back of the throat, the little fleshy bits on the tongue, with a bit of gloss to give it the wet look. The inside of the upper jaw has not been painted. The whole figure has pretty much just been moulded in the deep browny red, maroon, mahogany, whatever you want to call it. It has these really nice yellow splotches running down from the back of its head, down the neck, and all across the back of the head, its back and onto its tail. And we've also got some going onto the legs on both sides. Under the belly is orange. That's all I can say. It is just orange and in your face. Sorry, it's not on camera. Yeah, I just really like this figure. With Mattel, you either get a painted head or a painted tail. On this occasion, you get the painted head. And obviously on this occasion... No, mate, on this one you get the painted tail. On this one you get the painted head. Which I'm not bothered about. The head doesn't... the head honestly doesn't look too bad without the paint on it. There are a couple of little yellow splotches where it looks like the printing department sort of had a bit of a hiccup, so it's not like it doesn't look So it's like, in this sense, painting app errors kind of work. I love the hands on the Masiakosaurus. I love that they're facing inwards, as dinosaur arms should. If you actually have them pointing down like that, like they do with the velociraptors in Jurassic Park, it's actually breaking the wrist. Dinosaur hands are meant to face inwards, not downwards. So yes, we've got really nice arms with some good muscle definition. Same with the legs, coming down into the toes with all those thicker scales going down the foot. I love all the spikes going down the back of this guy as well. The spikes here and here. And then it splits off into 2 rows and then joins back up into 1 for the tail. For articulation, as you've seen, the mouth can open and close with its weird buck teeth. This one looks a little bit derpy. Unfortunately, pretty much all of the Masiakosauruses that they had were derpy, but this was like the least. The arms can obviously rotate and go outwards as well. The legs can also rotate and go in and out. Can the tail rotate on this one? The tail can rotate a little bit, but it breaks the mold, so I don't bother. The action feature on this guy is exactly the same as the other one. So you press this button and it has the funky chicken neck. I love the gimmick. This is probably my favourite of the action features of this wave, and I think it was my favourite for the previous wave as well. Here is the scan code. Was it gonna focus? There we go. There's the scan code for this reddy brown Masiakosaurus. And let me just quickly bring the green one in. This is the original run. So this is the green one. This one, colour-wise, is definitely more natural. But I just prefer this one. It looks cooler. And just seems like it's got more paint on it. Because like with this one, the markings sort of blended in because the dinosaur was green and the markings were just a slightly lighter green. And the jaw is also a slightly lighter green. So it just all blended in. So from a distance, it just looks one solid colour. Whereas this one, you can tell it is 2 different colours, and then you get up close and it's 3 different colours. So yeah, now a funky chicken dance off. So yeah, that is the new coloured Masiakosaurus. And finally, we have our millionth Monolothosaurus. I was about to say Dilophosaurus, but no, this is a mono. This is the exact same mould that we've had a few times now. Unless you're in the UK. Maybe not. I thought I had a sneeze coming. But yeah, this is the exact same mould as pretty much all the other Monolothosauruses, apart from the Camp Cretaceous. Ones that come in the campers, which I unfortunately have not been able to get a hold of. So yeah, it's a nice mould. So we've got, has this one got nicely printed eyes on both sides? It does. I have been quite successful with getting these. So we've got some nice red paint on the crest going around the eyes. And the whole dinosaur is moulded in this nice lime green colour. And has some darker green darker green smudge on the back, which goes into some spots going down the side of the body. The bottom jaw is moulded in this grey colour, but then the grey is painted to go all the way down the underside of the neck, into the belly, and it stops around the butt. And obviously the tail is unpainted. Because the head is painted, the tail is unpainted. So yeah, I do like the Monolothosaurus figures. Mostly just because I don't have that many of them. I only have 2. And both of them are exactly the same, just different colours. But yeah, inside the mouth, well, inside the top jaw is once again not painted, but the tongue and the little fleshy bits are painted in a deeper reddy pinky colour, once again with gloss to give it the wet look. The teeth are sort of just moulded as all one thing and painted as all one thing, but they're painted pretty decently. There's no real paint splotches, there's no messy paint jobs. There's a little bit of messy paint on the bottom teeth, but obviously when you've got the mouth shut, you can't see the bottom teeth. But so, yeah. Articulation, the arms can rotate and go out. And the legs can also rotate and go... Can they go in and out? Nah, the legs can't really go in and out. So this is more like a tack pack standard of articulation with just a little bit for the in and out. Nothing in the neck, unfortunately, because the neck is, well, the head is the gimmick. So if you move the tail down like that, it bites. And if you close it manually, you can get it to stay shut. But unfortunately, it means the tail stays down because it is all connected. And because it's all connected, that will be why it has no neck articulation. So it's a shame that the gimmick means a lack of articulation. But, you know, I'm alright with it. Because I quite like the colour scheme of this Monolothosaurus. It's another one that is just bright and in your face. And the red crest really stands out against the bright green. And here is the scan code for the Monolothosaurus. Very quickly, bringing in the previous edition of the Monolothosaurus, which has not been reviewed on the channel yet, but it will be reviewed at some point. I'm going to do the entire wave that this guy came with. So, yeah. It is, once again, like I said, the exact same mold in every sense. And the gimmick is the same. The gimmick works a little bit better on this black one. Because as you can see, the mouth will shut all the way, whereas on this one it won't, unless you close it manually. But yeah, it's exactly the same. Unfortunately, my black Monolothosaurus came with quite badly deformed feet. Luckily it still stands up, but it did have some warped legs. But I'm not fussed about that. Once again, painted head, not painted tail. Actually, no. Come on, stand up. I literally just said, you're warped, but you can stand. Now stand. There we go. So yeah, this guy can stand up easily. Because his legs are not warped. I think they might be ever so slightly like misaligned, but they're not like really badly warped. So let me quickly bring them all back. And there we go. So that was my review of the final releases for the Jurassic World Dino Escape line from Mattel. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next video, whatever that will be.